GX is chock full of moments where duelists stare down the odds and concocted a brilliant combo to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The only way to pull off a comeback of such high magnitudes?
Turn your game on! It's get your game on, say it right!
So in this list, let's count down those top 10 moments.
Yellow! Black! Green! Combine! Ojama Delta Hurricane! What in the...
At number 10, Chazz pulls together a field-wiping combo with the Ojama brothers and strikes for game to take down his own big brother Slade, marking a comeback of 1,600 versus 4,000 life points. Some context for this duel: Chazz is facing off against Slade because his brothers are fed up with Chazz not holding up his end of the family responsibility to conquer the dueling world, but this duel has more at stake than family ties. First, if Slade wins, the Princeton family gets control of Duel Academy, but second, Chazz is barred from using any monster with more than 500 attack, or as Slade would put it,
you're only allowed to duel with monsters that have less than 500 life points.
What the...
So I guess it's fine considering Chazz is facing a dude who doesn't know the basics of the game. Nonetheless, Chazz is forced to pull together a deck from the cards that other students threw away, which is how he comes to add Ojama Black and Green to pair alongside the Ojama Yellow he got a few episodes earlier. Turns out to be the perfect pairing, as during his game-winning move, Chazz activates Enchanting Fitting Room, which flips 4 cards off the top of his deck and summons any level 3 or lower normal monsters. What does he get? The 3 Ojama brothers, of course, which pairs perfectly with the Ojama Delta Hurricane in his hand to destroy all of Slade's cards. Prior to this, he had activated Painful Choice to reveal 5 cards from his deck and have Slade add 1 to Chazz's hand, for which Slade inexplicably picks the 1 card that could have been of any use, but again, novice to the game, and thus he adds Thunder Crash to Chazz's hand. After wiping Slade's board, Chazz uses Thunder Crash to wipe his own and inflict 300 damage per monster destroyed, dealing 900 to Slade. Chazz then summons Chaos Necromancer, which gains 300 attack per monster in his grave, putting it at a whopping 3,300, more than enough to deal the winning blow.
I still have one trick up my sleeve. Oh yeah, and here it comes. I'm activating the trap known as Final Fusion.
At number 9, Zane and Jaden pull out all the stops, resulting in a draw for the ages. Zane, for his graduation match, chooses Jaden as his opponent, and the 2 best duels of the Academy do not disappoint. The turn starts with Zane in the lead in life points 550 to 100. Zane uses Power Bond alongside Cybernetic Fusion support to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon by banishing 3 Cyber Dragons from his grave, and thanks to Power Bond, the boss comes out at 8,000 attack. Zane attacks Jaden's Shining Flare Wingman and activates limited removal on top of it, doubling the Cyber End Dragon, this time to 16,000 attack. However, Jaden gets his game on by activating Battle Fusion to increase his monster's attack by the attack of the Cyber End Dragon, bringing the Flared Wingman to 20,900 attack. The upperclassman, however, still has a trick up his sleeve and activates his own Battle Fusion, putting the Cyber End at a whopping 36,900 attack, the strongest monster used in the entire series. But Jaden won't allow anyone to get their game on more than him. He activates his final card, Final Fusion, to burn both players with the combined attack of the battling monsters, knocking both duelists down to 0 in an epic draw.
All right, and
You what? What is it?
Trisha's too much. I special summon Elemental Hero Bubble Man.
At number 8, Jaden gets his game on against the Admiral. With no cards on field or in hand, only 100 life points, and staring down a 2,600 attack Leviathan Dragon, Jaden top decks into Elemental Hero Bubble Man, using its effective special summon himself and draw 2 cards, getting him to Bubble Blaster and Pot of Greed. Pot of Greed then gets Jaden another 2 cards, Metamorphosis and the Warrior Returning Alive, the latter which Jaden uses to retrieve Sparkman from his grave and summon it, and the former which he uses to tribute Bubble Man for Neo Bubble Man. Jaden then equips Neo with Bubble Blaster and attacks Leviathan Dragon with it, and thanks to Blaster, Neo Bubbleman is not destroyed, and Jaden takes no damage in that battle, but thanks to Neo Bubbleman's effect, Leviathan Dragon is destroyed at the end of the damage step, clearing the way for Sparkman to attack for 1,600, enough for exact game. Get your game on, Captain.
My Feather Shot spell. Now Avion gets 1 attack for every single monster on my side of the field.
You're kidding.
At number 7, Jaden gets his game on and takes down Princess Rose's army of frogs. Rose has just ended her turn with Amphibian Angel Frog, 3 Death Frogs, and 1 D3S Frog at a whopping 4,000 attack, while also having wiped out Jaden's back row. Jaden at 800 life points against Rose's full 4,000, draws Pot of Greed and uses it to draw 2 cards. He then summons Burstinatrix and uses Oversoul to revive Clayman to pair alongside his Avion. Jaden then activates Skyscraper, meaning any E-Hero that attacks a stronger monster will gain 1,000 attack during that damage calculation. Jaden then equips Avion with Power Charger, granting it the attack of any monster it destroys by battle. The final piece of the combo is Feather Shot, which will give Avion a number of attack declarations equal to the number of monsters Jaden has, meaning 3. Avian at 1000 first attacks a 1900 Death Frog. Skyscraper bumps the Birdman to 2000, dealing 100 to Rose, and thanks to Power Charger, Avian's attack increases to 2900. Avian, thanks to Feather Shot, can attack again, taking down another Death Frog, reducing Rose to 2900 life points, and bumping Avian to a whopping 4800 attack. Avian with its final attack goes for the final Death Frog, dealing the exact 2900 needed for game in a heroic 6-card combo.
このデッキも変化を進化を望んでいたんだ。
At number 6, Syrus gets his game on against Makoto, squashing the Jinzo Art's attempt to overtake the Cyber Art. Syrus is sitting at 500 life points to Makoto's perfect 4000, and staring down Jinzo Lord, as well as a move Makoto has on deck to go for game during his next standby phase with Trap Request. Syrus begins his turn drawing Dragonroid, but due to Crush Card Virus, the 2900 attack monster is destroyed right off the bat. Not the greatest of starts, but Syrus follows up by activating a Remove Bomb to banish the top 5 cards of his deck from play, burning Makoto for 300 for each monster. In Chazz-like fashion, Syrus gets the perfect 3 monsters he needs, Cyberdark Keel, Cyberdark Horn, and Cyberdark Edge to burn Makoto for 900, while also setting up his banishment for the ensuing combo. First, Syrus activates Spell Economics so he doesn't have to pay any life points for spell cards that have a cost of life points, meaning he can then use Dimension Fusion without having to pay 2000 life points that he doesn't have to bring back his banished monsters, specifically the 3 Cyberdarks he just lost from Remove Bomb. Syrus then plays Power Bond to fuse the 3 into Cyberdark Dragon, whose attack is doubled to come out at 2000. Cyberdark Dragon's effect then activates to equip a dragon monster from his grave. Makoto asserts that Syrus has no dragons in grave, but that Crush card ends up backfiring big time because Dragonroid is treated as a dragon in the grave, thus equipping the Cyberdark Dragon and granting it its massive 2900 attack. Cyberdark Dragon has a final effect as well, bumping its attack up by 100 for every monster in Syrus' grave for a grand total of 5800, 3200 more than Jinzo Lord, which is 100 more than enough for game.
Meet the most feared creature in history! You'll never survive! Just kidding.
The dishonorable mention goes out to Jesse in his very first appearance in Duel against Jaden. Just as Air Neos charges up its attack to take down Amber Mammoth for game, Jesse asserts, "Not so fast," and talks up his greatest monster, the legendary Rainbow Dragon. Thing is, Jesse doesn't have the card. In fact, it doesn't even exist yet, and Air Neos' attack goes through for game. The crowd berates Jesse for not having an ace in his deck, but fortunately, we do get to see Jesse get his game on with Rainbow Dragon a few times during the rest of the series.
あの時と一緒だな。
な
At number 5, Jaden gets his game on in his rematch against Dr. Crowler in Season 4. Jaden starts his final turn down 2,100 in life points, with Crowler controlling a 4,400 attack Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem against Jaden's E-Hero Neos. Jaden removes Takeover 5 from his grave to draw a card, which happens to be a card responsible for many Get Your Game On moments, as you'll soon see. Fifth Hope shuffles back 5 E-Heroes from Jaden's grave into the deck, netting him 2 draws, Air Hummingbird and Cyclone Wing. Jaden then normal summons that Hummingbird and shuffles it and Neos back into the deck to contact Fuse for Air Neos, who gains 1900 attack due to Crowler having 1900 more life points than Jaden. Jaden then equips Cyclone Wing to Air Neos, such that when it attacks, he can destroy a spell or trap Crowler controls. Air Neos attacks the Ultimate Golem, and Cyclone Wing pops Unfinished Time Box, which returns the Flame Wingmen that have been banished to Jaden's field. Air Neos and the Ultimate Golem collide in a double KO, but that triggers the Ultimate Golem's effect to summon back the 3000 attack Ancient Gear Golem. Jaden, still in his battle phase, smiles. He activates Demise of the Land to activate Skyscraper from his deck, and now the scene is set to reenact their first duel in the very first one of the series. Flame Wingman attacks the Golem, and Skyscraper boosts its attack by 1000 to 3100, allowing it to attack over the Golem. Having destroyed a monster, Flame Wingman's effect then triggers, inflicting 3000 damage to Crowler for the win in a heartfelt finish that earns salutes from the crowd.
And that gives him more firepower than any monster on your field. Go! Meteor Meltdown!
At number 4, Jaden gets his game on against Viper. Down 300 to 1500 life points, not only must Jaden make a comeback, but he must do so against a monster unaffected by other card effects. Venominaga, the deity of poisonous stakes, sitting at 3000 attack. Disheartened by Viper's words that Jaden duels without purpose, Jaden is about to surrender, until Jesse's pep talk reminds him he does have a reason to fight. He is his friend's hope. In turn, Jaden, with no cards in hand or on the field, top decks the Card of Hope, Fifth Hope, shuffling back 5 heroes to ordinarily draw 2, but since he has no other cards in hand or field, he gets a third, Neos, Contact, and Cocoon Party. Party special summons a Chrysalis monster from Jaden's deck for every Neos patient in his grave with a different name, bringing out Mole and Larva. Contact then sends those two to the grave to bring out Grand Mole and Flare Scarab. Jaden then uses the effect of Necro Shade to summon Neos without tribute, then Contact uses his 3 monsters for Magma Neos, which gains 400 attack for every card on the field, putting it at 4600. While Venominaga can keep reviving itself after being destroyed in battle, Viper's life points are still susceptible, and the 1600 attack gap is just enough to take the rest of them out for game.
I sacrifice this card to crush your doll, and then you'll take damage equal to your doll's original attack points.
At number 3, Jaden gets his game on against a literal doll, but this doll doesn't play nice, with Doll Chimera a nearly unbeatable monster that not only keeps coming back, but stronger each time. Jaden starts his turn by summoning Bubble Man, and since he has no other cards on board, activates its effect to draw 2 cards. One of those is Pot of Greed, a common occurrence for Jaden to bubble into pot or pot into bubble. In any case, that's 2 more draws, giving him 8 cards to work some magic. He starts off with Polymerization to fuse Sparkman and Clayman for Thunder Giant, whose effect pops Doll Chimera since its original attack of 0 is less than the Thunder Giant's. Chimera comes back by sending 2 doll parts from deck to grave, now with 4000 attack. Jaden then activates Metamorphosis to tribute his Bubble Man for Neo Bubble Man, and equips it with Bubble Blaster. Neo Bubble Man attacks, and just like against the Admiral, the Blaster protects Jaden from damage and the Neo Bubble Man from destruction, but Neo's effect pops Doll Chimera. Again, Alice revives it by sending 2 doll parts from deck to grave, bringing it out with 4800 attack. Jaden then uses Battle X2 to double the attack of his Thunder Giant to 4800 itself and double KO with the Doll Chimera, but this time, Alice doesn't have any doll parts remaining to bring it back. After a couple more moves which involve Alice using Release Curse to destroy all cards on the field and bring both players down to under 1000 life points, Jaden wraps up his turn by playing Fusion Recovery to add back Polymerization and Sparkman from grave to hand and setting 2 cards to his back row. Yeah, that's right. This instance involves Jaden getting his game on across multiple turns. As Al starts off her turn with Door to Maryland, she summons a Sheila Lovely Abyss doll at 4000 attack. She attempts to attack for game, but Jaden's 2 face down cards are Flute of Summoning Karibo and Transcendent Wings. The former which brings out Wing Karibo, and the latter which at the cost of the 2 cards he just got back with Fusion Recovery, tributes it for Wing Karibo, level 10. Jaden tributes it to activate its effect, destroying Ashila and burning Alice for damage equal to Ashila's original attack of 1000, enough to go for game.
Hey, you're right. Must have miscounted. Nah, just kidding. I still have this. The spell card, Instant Fusion.
At number 2, Jaden gets his game on by turning the tables on X. X is one of the top ranked pro duelists in the country and uses a deck out strategy. With the start of Jaden's turn after his draw phase, he is left with just 3 cards that X will be able to clear out during his turn, so Jaden needs to make this one count. He starts off his turn by activating Common Soul to target X's Traps Loser and summons Glow Moss to the same side of the field. Jaden then uses Miracle Fusion to banish Avion, Persinatrix, Bubbleman, and Clayman to bring out Electrum. Thanks to X's monster register, Jaden loses cards from his deck equal to the level of the monster, getting rid of his last 3 cards, but then Electrum's effect activates, returning all banished cards to the deck, putting the 4 heroes used for Miracle Fusion back. Jaden then normal summons Sparkman, and again, monster register mills off according to the level, costing Jaden the 4 cards he just put back. Electrum then attacks Glow Moss, but thanks to X's Traps, Recycle Barrier, and Super Guard, he won't take any damage, nor will Glow Moss be destroyed. Without the ability to attack for game, X thinks the game is over. But Jaden is just starting to get his game on. Ordinarily, when Glow Moss is in a battle, its effect will look at the top card of the opponent's deck and trigger an effect based on the type, but if the opponent doesn't have any cards, as Jaden doesn't, then the controller of Glow Moss loses 2 cards off the top of their deck, milling X down to 12 cards. Jaden then attacks with Sparkman, and again, thanks to X's traps, no battle damage is inflicted, nor is Glow Moss destroyed, but 2 more cards come off the top, putting him at 10. Jaden then plays Diffusion, returning Electrum to bring out the 4 heroes that had been used for its summon since they are now sitting in the grave, showcasing a brilliant usage of not just the cycle between grave, banishment, deck, and back to grave, but leveraging X's mill setup to achieve that combo and turning his traps against him by continuing to trigger Glow Moss's mill effect. With 4 more monsters on deck, each one attacks, repeating the cycle of Glow Moss's mill, reducing X all the way down to 2 cards. Again, X thinks he's safe since Jaden has no more attacks left. Jaden pretends to have miscounted, but then reveals his final card, Instant Fusion, using the same 4 heroes to bring back out Electrum and attack Glow Moss one final time, milling off the last 2 cards from X's deck. All Jaden needs to do now is end his turn, and the moment X starts, since he can't draw, he loses by deck out.
A new dawn is rising. It's unfortunate. You aren't going to be around to witness it, you Bell. This duel ends with your destruction.
Our first honorable mention goes out to Zane in his duel against Yubel, and perhaps the greatest duel of the show. Zane gets his game on as part of his desire to have one final shining moment before his heart gives out. Powerbomb brings out Cyber End Dragon at 8,000 attack, and while Yubel is able to raise the attack of Rainbow Dark Dragon at 9,000, Zane's Cybernetic Zone removes Cyber End from play until the end phase, where it returns with 16,000 attack. While Powerbomb then costs Zane the duel, it is still a stunning display that leaves a lasting impact on Jaden and pulls him out from his own funk.
There's more! I'm fusing Wingman and Sparkman to make something even better!
2 fusions?
Our second honorable mention goes out to Jaden in his duel against Camula. Fusion Gate is used a number of times throughout the show, but this is the one time where it is used to its max potential, as Jaden triggers its effect twice on the same turn to go into Flame Wingman, then Shining Flare Wingman, which is the monster that wins the game.
俺が知らない間に失っていたもの。どんな大人になろうと決して忘れてはいけないもの。行くぞ！
And our third honorable mention goes to the moment Jaden gets his groove back against Yugi in the final duel of the series. After having gone the entire season dueling without enjoying it, Jaden's duel against the King of Games is a beautiful reminder to never forget the fun that comes with duel monsters. The final turn showcases Jaden at his best, bringing out a 6,300 attack Magma Neos and 4,600 attack Shining Flare Wingman, only to be blocked by the Pharaoh bringing out Slifer the Sky Dragon in a final scene that leaves the ending of the duel ambiguous because, after all, getting your game on isn't about winning or losing, but giving it your all. But if you are curious who actually won that duel, check out the video with this card in the corner, also linked in the video description.
I didn't predict this.
Maybe you don't know as much as you think you know. And I think I know what you know. You know? Okay, that sounded a lot better in my head.
And the number 1 get your game on moment goes to Jaden's first duel against Artorias, where once again, Jaden finds himself in a spot low on life points, 300 in this case, staring down a boss monster, the 4,000 attack Light Ruler in this case, and no cards in hand or on the field. So what does he do? That's right, plead the 5th Hope, shuffling back 5 E-Heroes to draw 3 cards, Neospace, Grand Mole, and Silent Doom. Jaden activates Neospace, uses Silent Doom to revive Neos, and normal summons the Mole, then contact fuses those two for Grand Neos. Jaden uses its effect to bounce the Light Ruler, but Sartorius counters with Reversal of Fate, changing the Light Ruler's direction to the reverse and thus negating and destroying Grand Neos, but at the cost of Light Ruler reducing its own attack to 3,000 and Jaden getting one last draw. But what happens when you give the protagonist one last top deck? He of course gets his game on, ripping Reverse of Neos off the top of his deck and summoning Neos back from his deck, and thanks to Neospace it gains 500 attack and 1,000 more since a Neos fusion monster had been destroyed that turn, putting it at 4,000. Neos attacks the Light Ruler, dealing 1,000 damage per game and saving the world from the Light of Destruction. So that does it for the top 10 Get Your Game On moments from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Comment below some of your favorite combos and comebacks from the show, as well as moments you personally got your game on. Then be sure to get your YouTube on by subscribing to this channel for more content like this.
That's game! And a sweet one, too!